Hey everybody, Scott Spreitzer here of DocSports.com, and welcome to the update for Tuesday, November 27th, 2018. Free pick coming up in just a moment. First, a quick note, if you've yet to become a member at DocSports.com and just want to give it a try, it's a cool way to do it. You can get a free $60 account, and all you got to do is start by clicking on the link below the video. Set yourself up for the free $60 account, and you can use that on any of my daily packages, daily plays over at DocSports.com, or anybody else at DocSports for that matter. Again, it all starts by clicking on the link below the video. Set yourself up, free $60 account. Think you'll be glad that you did. All right, well, we passed NFL last night. We passed NHL last night. We had a free play on Nebraska in college basketball here, which cashed, and we had just two plays overall last night. We split the plays with Charlotte and Golden State, but we made a couple of units, almost two full units, with Charlotte being the bigger play of the two. We came up about a bucket short with Golden State from getting an NBA Monday night sweep, but again, almost two full units of profit with Charlotte being the bigger play and cashing. We have plenty of action going on Tuesday's slate. College basketball is going to take center stage for us. We're going to have at least two plays. We've already got one that's a big play for us, by the way, for Tuesday. Haven't had a lot of big plays in college baskets so far in November, but we are on a nice 96-64 November winning run going back a few years now. College baskets were up, showing a good profit so far this November in college basketball. So check that out. On Tuesday, the college basketball play is available at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, 8:30 a.m. Pacific at DocSports.com. We'll also be in NHL action on Tuesday and possibly the NBA. It'll all be available during the day on Tuesday. Of course, football a little bit later this week. We'll take a 15-2-1 run, college football NFL top plays over the last 9 weeks. We'll take that run into this week's card. Also, a 52-28 combined college football NFL run, up nearly $11,500 for those wagering, just $100 per unit. Those plays in football available in just a couple days. Overall, we're on a 119-82 run. That's about 59% against the spread, all sports combined. And again, all the plays for Tuesday will be available during the day, starting at 11:30 a.m. Pacific in college basketball. Free play for Tuesday's college basket's coming up in just a moment. This is kind of the long version for us each and every week. It's Tuesday, and that means the NFL Week 12 recap is in store, and we basically jot down notes from the highlight shows we watch, from the games we watch, and from surfing the net for what we feel are important notes to be jotted down and carried over into the next week of NFL. They're in no particular order. And by the way, if you want to see these in more detail, again, they're going to be over at DocSports.com on Tuesday late afternoon. Go to my handicapping homepage at DocSports.com, bottom of the page, and you'll see a link to these Week 12 recaps. Let's start, actually. And Buccaneers, of course, over San Francisco, 27-9. Nick Mullins came back to earth a little bit, 18 for 32, couple of interceptions. Did throw the one touchdown. Jameis Winston, nice game out of him, 2 touchdowns. No interceptions thrown, threw for about 310, 312 yards. Listen, he moved out of the pocket well, and he didn't just pull the ball down and run with it like he tends to do a little bit too early, and instead he basically gave his receivers time to extend plays and get open. So, listen, we're not jumping on the Jameis Winston bandwagon. He does it once or twice every couple of months, and then he goes back to being a poor quarterback. But again, he did well, played well against San Francisco this past weekend. The Bucs did have 2 takeaways. They had won the previous 7 games. San Francisco now 3-31 straight up without Garoppolo starting at quarterback. The Jags go into Buffalo. The Buffalo Bills win 24-21. Fournette's going to be suspended for a game with that fight that he got into. Also, Blake Bortles is being benched by Jacksonville. He goes 12 for 23, 127 yards, touchdown, 2 picks, and now Bortles 6 touchdown passes, 11 interceptions during his team's 7-game losing streak. Josh Allen only went 8 for 19 through the air, but he did not throw a pick, and he had 99 yards rushing, a real nice rushing touchdown in the game also. But the Jags, how about less than 16 points per game during their 7-game skid? As far as Buffalo, 8 touchdowns, no turnovers their last 2 games. They had 1 touchdown and 11 turnovers in their previous 3 games. Patriots knock off the Jets 27-13. Everybody had the Patriots on Sunday, and they eked out the cover. Brady goes 20 for 31, 283, couple of touchdowns. Sony Michel, 21 carries, 133 yards, and a touchdown. The Patriots have now won 42 straight games, according to NBC, where they've had a 100-yard rusher White, by the way, 73 yards on 9 carries. McCown was so-so. And listen, here's the deal. Crowell doesn't get a lot of carries again. You want to win games if you're the Jets or want to put yourself in a position to have a chance to win games. You got to get Isaiah Crowell the ball more than 6 times in a game. He's got to run that ball 15, 16 times per contest. Throw it to him a couple of times out of the backfield. He's the guy that has to get it going if they're going to have a chance to win football games. New England now 4 straight games without committing a turnover. They ran for 215 yards on 6 yards per carry. Chargers were down 10-0. They scored the final 45 points against Arizona on Sunday. And Phillip Rivers, by now you've heard about it, 25 straight completions, NFL record to start the game. He ends up 28 of 29, 259 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Phillip Rivers has had 2 or more touchdowns in each of his first 11 games this season. He's the 4th player ever to do that. Melvin Gordon, he was running for about 6 yards per carry. He had the injury. Looks like it's an MCL sprain at last check, which means he's going to be listed as week to week in all likelihood. As far as Arizona, well, they're 2-0 against the Niners. They're 0-9 against everybody else. But this Charger defense, man, when Bosa's healthy, Ingram's coming off the same side on the defense, got a great strong safety in Derwin James. I'm telling you, man, when the Charger defense is healthy, this team is for real. And if they don't make dumb mistakes and cost themselves, they can beat anybody in the league. As far as the Browns and the Bengals, the Browns 35, Cincy 20. Cleveland snaps that big, long losing streak, by the way, on the road. Baker Mayfield, nice day, 19-26, 258 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. 5 straight games now for Mayfield with 2 or more touchdown passes, and that ties an NFL rookie record. But the key to the Browns, and we've been saying it since day one this year, Nick Chubb, 28 carries. I love seeing that out of Nick Chubb. Only 84 yards. Doesn't sound like a lot, but 28 efficient carries, a touchdown, about 40-plus yards receiving out of the backfield, a touchdown there. And as far as what's happened since the coaching change, the biggest difference since Hugh Jackson was canned by Cleveland is that they now make the effort to get Chubb the football. Mayfield, since Jackson's firing, by the way, 74% completion rate, 257 yards per game through the air, 9 touchdowns, only 1 pick. With Jackson, he goes 58%, 8 touchdowns, 6 picks, clearly a better football team now that Hugh Jackson has been canned and away from the team for a few games. Raiders go into Baltimore. Raiders led 20-17 at the start of the 4th quarter and suffer yet another final quarter meltdown. What do we think about Lamar Jackson? Well, he was 14 for 25, buck 78 through the air, 1 touchdown, couple of picks. Ran the ball 11 times. It's a lot better than 27 times like last week, but still looking to run a little bit too much for my taste. I think what will happen is as he gets a little bit more acclimated to the NFL, a little bit more confidence, he'll start to reduce those runs to maybe, 8 to 10 per game. And it'll look to extend plays with his escapability rather than just pulling the ball down and running with it. Big story in this one, big key, I should say. Gus Edwards, 118 yards on 23 carries for Baltimore. The problem is you toss out that one reception of 74 yards, pass play by Lamar Jackson, and his average yards per pass drops all the way down to 4.3 yards on his other 24 passes when you take that one long pass out of the mix. So, listen, Baltimore's gotten away with it the last couple of weeks. We'll see if it continues. Dolphins and Colts. Colts win 27-24. Dolphins get the cover. Tannehill, nice game, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Gore, decent game on the ground. Andrew Luck continues to roll. 30 for 37, 343 yards, 3 touchdowns. He did have 2 picks. He's now the 3rd player in NFL history with 3 or more touchdown passes in 8 straight games. Marlon Mack, big day again, man. I like this kid. 85 yards on 15 carries. And Eric Ebron, the tight end for the Colts, 12 touchdowns receiving this season. He had 12 touchdowns in 4 years in Detroit. The Eagles come back and beat the Giants 25-22. Listen, sometimes I defend Eli Manning, not this time. He has a decent game, it looks like, when you look at his line, 26 for 37, 297 yards, touchdown and a pick. But that INT was huge. 14 seconds left in the half. They're inside the Eagles' 25-yard line. They're up 19-11. At worst, you attempt a field goal. You go into halftime up 22-11, and instead he forces a pass to the end zone, gets picked off at the front of the end zone. They go into the half 19-11, and a big change in emotions when that happened. Momentum definitely on the side of Philly going into the locker room, and that pass may have very well cost them that game. The Giants were hoping to win them all, as Odell Beckham said, a couple of weeks ago, and they had their chances, but that interception was huge, changed the course of the game. Seahawks going to Carolina. They beat the Panthers 30-27. Love the Seahawks offensive line this season. Wilson has a nice game, throws for 339 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Russell Wilson now with 20 touchdown passes and just 2 interceptions in his last 9 games. Carson ran pretty well, got 16 carries. That's important to this team. Lockett and Moore combined 9 receptions, 210 yards, couple of touchdowns. Listen, Cam Newton was on fire, 25 for 30, 256 yards. He ran for 63. McCaffrey had a huge offensive game, a $125 on the ground, 112 through the air, and a couple of touchdowns, 1 running, 1 receiving. But that Panther defense could not get the job done. Listen, Seattle's got 4 home games in their last 5 to wrap up this season. They might be 0-3 against the Rams and Chargers, but they're 6-0 against everybody else. Panthers defense, just talked about them. They're allowing 34 points per game during their 3-game skid. Broncos knock off the Steelers 24-17. That was our top play on Sunday, the Broncos. And listen, Big Ben threw 56 passes, threw 462 yards, couple of picks with 1 touchdown, picked off in the end zone late in the game. Connor had a rough game, including a fumble in this particular game against Denver, and that was with Pittsburgh driving. Didn't have a great game. Smith-Schuster had a huge game, 13 grabs, 190 yards, 97-yard touchdown reception. Keenum only threw the ball 28 times. He only had 15 completions, but he had 2 touchdowns and no picks. He really played within himself. And Lindsey had 110 yards on 14 carries. Difference in the game was that they were able to run the ball while Connor struggled. But anyway, Denver's beaten the Chargers and the Steelers the last 2 weeks playing decent football. I know some of that had to do with Pittsburgh making dumb mistakes, but still, Denver playing pretty well. Pittsburgh 3 turnovers and 2 punts over their final 5 possessions yesterday, -4 turnover margin in the game. Sunday Night Football, the Packers' antiquated offense gets knocked off again, 24-17 against Minnesota. This team, I'm telling you, they cannot win on the road. They haven't won on the road since last season. They do have a couple of favorable home games, but the record now is going to make it tough on them. They've got home games against Arizona and Atlanta, roadies at Chicago at the Jets, then another homie against Detroit. Real good shot at 4-1 for Green Bay if they can win at the Jets, gain a road win, but I'm not too sure that it's not a little too little too late. And then tonight, Monday Night Football, we saw Mariota and Watson go 41 for 47 combined, 513 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. But Lamar Miller was the difference for Houston. 12 carries, a $162 on the ground, 97-yard touchdown run. They had 281 yards rushing, and J.J. Watt's motor never stopped running when he was on defense. So even though Mariota goes 22 for 23, they end up having an ineffective offense for the night, and they lose to the Houston Texans. Again, that's your NFL recap for Week 12. If you want to see it all in detail and even more notes, you just simply go on Tuesday afternoon to DocSports.com. You click on my Handicappers homepage. At the bottom of the page, you'll see the recaps for Week 12 in the NFL. Again, on Tuesday, a couple of college basketball games, including a top play release. They'll be available at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, 8:30 a.m. Pacific. A little bit later in the day, NHL and potentially NBA. Free Tuesday college basketball. Nevada laying about 5.5 to 6 as we speak over Loyola Chicago. Listen, obviously everybody knows about it by now. Revenge on the mind of the Wolfpack. They lost by a point in the Sweet 16 last March. Nevada blew a 12-point lead to Loyola in that game. It took the Ramblers 56% shooting in that contest to gain the 1-point win. But of course, Loyola's lost a couple of key parts to last year's team. And this team, boy, for Nevada is just loaded under Eric Musselman. Nevada's terrific on the offensive end. They play great defense. Caleb Martin, Jordan Caroline, Cody Martin. These are guys that I don't think Loyola can match up with for an entire 40. Martin's already got 36 assists and only 11 turnovers so far in November. And then you look at Musselman, how he gets his team ready at the start of the season. They've covered 11 of their last 12 November games. They're also on a 38-16-3 spread run against teams with a winning record. We like Nevada to gain that measure of revenge over Loyola Chicago. Nevada minus the points on Tuesday. All right, listen, if you like what you're seeing here, click on that thumbs up button. Be sure to subscribe. We appreciate those who have done so thus far. We'll be right back here Wednesday morning, 4 a.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. Pacific time with our next update. I'm Scott Spreitzer, DocSports.com. Let's put Tuesday in the win column right back here Wednesday morning.